everyone, welcome to Neither Here Nor There Conversations Across. I'm Danny.
And I'm Christina. So we're kicking off our third episode today. This is a topic Danny and I have danced around a lot, this idea of being in between. So I'm really excited that we'll cover this. We'll talk more about it. But before we get started, Danny, how are you doing today?
Ooh, I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this in-between idea because we have talked about this for quite a while. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have a lot of stuff set up for me today, and I don't know what's happening today too much, so this is an exciting thing for me and everyone else that's listening. So tell me more. What are we doing today? Wait, before that, how are you? Shit.
Well, thank you for asking me. I mean, it was like a one-way conversation here.
Wait, it usually is. She usually has to ask me how I'm doing, and then I tell her how I'm doing. It's usually like a big mess.
And then she stops, and then she doesn't care. So you can see this is like a one-way relationship. I am good. I mean, we both know we've survived, quote-unquote, the typhoon that's been kind of circling around the island today, or, I mean, these past few days. So I think... Thankfully, I think we've come out unscathed. I know things have been really bad down south. Hopefully everyone's okay. But luckily here up north we are fine. So that's good.
Take it away, Christina. What are we talking about
today? All right, let's dive into our conversation. I think today we'll be touching upon various different concepts of what like in between means, like this mix of feelings or perspectives. So we'll go from there, and I think it can be interpreted in various ways. So I'll let you take the lead. I think the idea today, as two people who have always lived in this like in between situation of identity and culture, we often kind of find ourselves in limbo states. So I think we want to maybe aspire. I think as any human, we aspire for as much assuredness as we can. So Danny, I think this is kind of a normal thing of thinking if what we're feeling is normal or if what we're feeling is unique to us. I think this is like a running joke between us when you tell me something is very, it has only happened to you in the entire world. And my response always, I think this is like normal. So I think this is like the feeling we want to go for today. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. And I like to like go back and touch base on the whole having that assuredness, right? I think it really is just a human nature feeling to need, you're obviously more comforted when you have like an answer. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember just like this last week, we've actually been talking about that, having the need to have an answer, but do you need an answer? You just like one because it makes you feel better.
That's actually a really good segue to kind of what I want to talk about, because I know in the past we've talked a lot about what consistency or like predictability. So I don't think it's necessarily knowing the answer, but it's knowing that it's predictable.
Yeah.
And like I think there's slight difference in there. Like you don't have to actually know the answer, but you want to be able to kind of expect the answer to be in the realm of what you foresee. So when something is out of that circle, it can catch us really off guard. And I think kind of that's like what we're trying to maybe sometimes try to figure out. And I don't know, where do you stand on that?
That literally happened to me yesterday. So I asked my mom where Taliu is, right? And
what?
Taliu.
I'll tell you.
Okay, like the hardware store where I could get some light bulbs because this light bulb blew out. And anyways, I need to get it replaced, and I've been having a hard time because I bought these light bulbs and they're massive and whatever. When I drive up to that place, my mom was like, yeah, there's parking there, don't even worry about it, because it was like typhooning yesterday. Yes. Well, I mean, it wasn't actually raining.
Technically, things were closed.
Yeah, technically,
so
things were closed. Out. So I ventured out, and I was driving, and like, I get there, and I couldn't find the damn parking. And because it
was packed?
No, I just couldn't find the parking.
Oh, okay.
Like, I literally physically could not find it, like visually could not find the parking. And so I just like looped around, and I like was like, trying to find a spot just to stop and be like, Mom, what the hell? Like, and just like, I like just got so frustrated. I'm like, this is like the smallest thing. And also I've got nowhere to go today. Like, I mean, it's already like 6:00. I don't have anything else to do. But yeah, no. And I realized afterwards when I had discussed it with her that the parking was actually, I found the parking as I was talking to her, that I had freaked out over something so small. And it's always that thing of like, it was not what I expected. And I think that's a part that I feel is like that needing assurance. Mm-hmm. So, and also the expectation, mm-hmm. right? So I went in thinking that there was going to be parking immediately and it wouldn't be that hard to find, but it was really hard to find. Mm-hmm. and my expectations weren't met. And so I like freaked out. And I realized that, I mean, I've also been going through a lot the last couple of days, whatever. But so that's a small example. But
yeah,
it's the
a
same
small
thing.
example of kind of how this in a bigger situation, in friendships, in relationships, at work, you know, dealing with life, like any small thing that doesn't align, you know, it can really throw you off balance.
Yeah, of course. I love that idea of like your expectation. Honestly, like half the time people get frustrated or like whatever.
Disappointed.
It's all about their expectations not being met. And, you know, I think that's just so interesting. I remember just...
But isn't there something to be said then? Should we lower our expectations?
I don't think it's about lowering our expectations. It's about understanding or going into the situation being like, actually, like, this is what I expect, but it is possible. It's within the realm of possibility that, you know, I might not be able to find parking. And then being able to pivot on the spot.
So this is, I think, touching upon a little bit kind of what we often talk about, Danny, because sure, we are saying predictability. We're saying we want some sort of assuredness, right? We like that. We appreciate that. At the same time, if you think of a broader category, that also means we like labeling things. We like putting things into separate groups of like, this is A, this is B, this is black, this is white. And this is literally the contrary to what we've often discussed as well, that things are not so black and white. Things are not so gray, you know, things are in a gray scale. Not everyone is good, not everyone is absolutely bad, right? So if we cannot predict that, we freak out. Is it on us to you know, be better? Or is it, like, how do you manage that in the real life?
Really difficult. I gotta say, honestly, I feel like that's the crux of being human. Honestly, it's like finding that balance. It's like you said, no one is fully good or fully bad. Someone might be really bad to you, but in fact, they might be great to you. Like, someone might be really bad to me, but be really great to you.
Yes.
And so therefore, in your mind, they're not mostly bad.
So I can love someone that you hate.
Yeah, totally. And then also, then that also, for me, kind of makes it a little bit murkier, because a lot of the times you have, like, people that you dislike is because they aren't, I want to say, like, of your tribe. They aren't, like, being cohesive in the society that you're kind of building, the culture that you're building around you, right? And so if someone else, if I dislike this one person and you like this one person, but me and you, we're really good friends, where does that leave us in where does that leave my tribe? Like, do you just see what I mean?
Yes,
like,
but then this is, it goes into a lot of the relationship dynamics, right? Because to your point, if we're really good friends, if I dislike someone because someone hurt me, the expectation is for you to align with me.
yeah.
Is that fair?
No, it's, you see, that's the part.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is fair. And that's, I've always wondered this question. So, what if they did something, like, terrible, like,
Right.
really terrible?
You're literally, exactly. So I think as society, everything can be kind of like explained away, except when you cross a certain moral or like legal line, right? If someone commits a crime,
Yeah.
there is expectation that regardless of how that person treated you, you align with it.
But you see, the thing about that is that it's also society building that. Their society is drawing that line, right? And that's what people do. People, you know, that tribe, that metaphorical tribe I was talking about, is everyone drawing their own lines, drawing their own boundaries, right? And making their own culture.
Right.
Right? And so between different countries, obviously that also changes too. So who is right in the end of the day? I ask myself.
Yeah, but I think you're correct in saying that a lot of this is societal, a lot of this can be, but I think humanity has agreed there are certain lines that once you cross, it's universal. Say being a pedophile, say sexual abuse, you know, thus far, for at least most, I'm sure there's always, you know, exception to every rule,
Yeah.
but for the most part, even if you love someone, even if this person is the greatest person to you, if this person is caught as a pedophile, I think the expectation is that you will distance yourself.
You see, I've always had a really big problem with that idea.
Uh-huh.
Obviously,
Tell me.
not with pedophiles, so please.
Let's not. We're not condoning that. Let's
Condoning it.
please be very clear.
Not
on
condoning it. Say someone did something egregious, and then the expectation is to just completely cut them off and say there's a death penalty to it, but then it doesn't solve the underlying problem of solving that entire issue to begin with. And like, if you cut them off entirely, say there isn't death penalty and they're just like, they're cut off.
Slow down our pace today.
All right, slow down our pace. So if that person is caught and they do get in trouble and then the expectation is to cut them off, where does it leave that person? So they go to jail for 20 years.
Sure.
Nothing happens when they're in jail to solve the issue. And then anything else, they're isolated further.
Okay, so I think we're talking about maybe slightly two different things. One thing is reformation and how to improve society when these issues arise. Totally fair. But I think it's more like a dynamic. I think pulling out of such extreme situations, you know, let's bring it to like more casual social settings. Like if you break up with someone, the expectation is the entire friend group breaks up with this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except unless you grew up in the same, like, you know, all these like mixed dynamics.
My friend actually had a really good, like, she told me this example recently about how in their friendship group, this one guy had dated another girl for, like, years, and he had treated her terribly, and then the breakup ended up happening, and then he dated another girl in the friendship group, and now they're dating, but then, so, like, now when they all get together, they like, separate, right? So, like, you know, if this couple is going, that girl won't come along, too. And this girl is, like, married with kid as well. But then, and then recently they've had, like, a bit of a scandal of, like, they were going somewhere. They're all going somewhere over this weekend. No one told like the other party, and so they're all going together. And then it became really awkward. And when she was telling me the story, and then I started taking sides myself because like you know I took it personally. Like, but I don't even know these people. I was just like having fun with their gossip. Had that example, and I don't know the answer to that. And obviously for me, I would love if you like took my side and like cut the person off, but I'm also realistic and like, and so I just hold on to my small pettiness in my heart while you're friends with them and I'm not, and I just have to sit there and take it. But
that's big of you.
It depends on how much, and also I don't know the answer. I need you to like here discuss it with me so I can brainstorm my answer. This is such a tough one. I don't know, and you know that I'm like...
We'll mull over it.
Yeah, you know I'm dealing with this specific issue. So, okay, discuss it with me more. Or are we moving on?
I mean, let's mull it. Let's think about it a bit more because I do actually have 3 concrete examples, hypotheticals that I would love to go through a similar exercise.
Okay.
But I want to create the details of these like complicated scenarios, and then we'll go from there. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. Thought experiment number 1, I call it.
Okay.
Coexistence of love and hate. So before we start, let's just be very clear. This is all hypothetical. This is all made up scenarios. Okay. So this first scenario I'm painting was inspired by one of Colleen Hoover's books that of course addresses, you know, a lot of this like abuse in relationships. So imagine you have an older brother you're very close to. He is your best friend. Loves you unconditionally, supports you through thick and thin. You've grown up always being told by your parents, it's you, both of you, against the world. You guys are the only, you know, family you guys have against the world. He's someone you admire, you love, and beloved by everyone. He then finds the love of his life in your best friend and have the most beautiful and romantic relationship. And then as time goes on, you realize he is abusive to her. He's physically and emotionally abusive to her.
Oh.
How do you deal with this? Like, where's your head at? You know, how would you behave?
How would I behave?
How do you coexist in this situation?
My head automatically overthinks it like crazy because it not only takes in... I mean, there's so many different things to take in, but also, why is he emotionally and physically abusive? Like, is he frustrated with himself? Does something happen? Does he have a terrible childhood trauma that he didn't go through? If he had terrible childhood trauma, I probably had terrible childhood trauma. My head's spinning. What would I do? I would, obviously because I'm annoyingly moral and principle, and you know I'm half white, half Karen.
Karen? Did you just say that? Oh my gosh, Karen.
Hey, I've come to really think there's not always a bad thing about Karen. She does talk, which is good. Anyways, okay. I would obviously, like, say something. I would be like, dude, what the fuck?
Wait, so who are you saying to and what are you doing? So first of all,
I would start with her.
Let's start. Would you be open for this friend to come to you with this issue? She would probably feel super caught in between, right? This is your brother, but she's your best friend. Like, can she come to you?
Yeah, so that's also a thing. I remember because, like, one of my friends had this, like, a similar issue. It became awkward. Like, it becomes a bit awkward when your best friend becomes, like, your sister-in-law kind of deal. But I think in that case, it would depend on whether or not she's comfortable coming to me. See, the thing is, if she comes to me first, I think I would be a little bit more delicate with the situation. But if I saw it firsthand, I would go to him immediately.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, if she came to me, that means, like, she's trusting me with this information.
Would you ever doubt her?
Usually, I remember learning this quite a while ago. Maybe I'll find the study. But I remember, like, it's like a 2% rate of, like, people that lie about.
But it's not about that. This is your brother. This is your most beloved brother, like the person you admire the most.
Yeah, so at this point, it would take me some time saying that I'm being objective about this. Like, because, like, when I'm in this situation, you don't actually know whether or not you're going to be objective. This is the person I admire most in the world, and my world is shattered.
Of course.
It's like that moment when you realize your parents are, like, adults, like, real people.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So the same thing applies here. But, I mean, this is also a point, if that's the point, then that's a point for me to wake up and become an adult myself.
That's a very mature answer, yeah.
Yeah, and so, okay, so saying that, suppose all that's true, right? And that I'm already, like, self-aware and I'm already an adult, then if she came to me first, yeah, of course I'd be receptive and open to it at this point in my life. I think before, I would have been like, dude, you gotta fucking leave him, like, right away.
Even if it's your brother.
Even if it's my brother, yeah. But also, yeah, so I would believe her, but that's why I would be delicate, because I would still, like, double check. I would, like, she would talk to me about it, and then I would, like, tiptoe and kind of, like, inquire a little bit after my brother and be like, hey, what's going on? You okay? And then I'd do, like, some covert, dig in and all that kind of stuff, and then talk to my parents about it, and just, like, subtly talk to it before I start blowing things up.
How much would you, quote unquote, like, tolerate until you blow things up? As in, like, is there a threshold?
Yeah, because at some point that stuff like that becomes visible.
Right.
Like, visible, maybe not like bruises on the arms, but it becomes visible. It escalates usually if it doesn't, like, resolve itself. Mm-hmm. And so it will eventually, like, disrupt family dinners. Disrupt, not just family dinners, it'll be disruption outside. And, like, that's even more. Because then it starts bringing in other people. And then the more voices you have, the worse it is. So, yeah. All right, does that answer your question? So what's conclusion did I give? I didn't give any conclusion A.
It sounds like you would deal with it, like, pretty straight on, but I think you do have this inherent desire to help solve him, right, in this particular. I think solve when look at the issue like that happens, I tend to go at it pretty head on, when honestly I don't think head on's usually the way, especially, like, if she comes to me first. Because, like, when someone is, like, in my experience, like, emotionally and physically abused, you want to take it really delicately. Of course.
You don't want to, like, deny them. You don't want to, like, disbelieve them. You don't say anything like that. You just listen and then, like, see what they want to do. And then also what you're technically what you're meant to do is, like, be like, you're always welcome at my house kind of thing. So the door's always open.
Would you help her leave him?
Of course. Of course. You should always leave a situation in which it's not safe
No, but
for
it's not about that. It's more, how do you maneuver that? Like, he will come to you and be like, where is she? Like, how are you dealing with being caught in between the situation?
He would come to me.
Of course, right? Because you're the best friend. You're his sister.
Yeah, and I've stolen his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm saying it in my head, I'd just be like, don't be a pussy-ass bitch. But, I mean, that's obviously way easier said than done.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about those things like that. You never really know until you're hit with it, until it actually comes at you. So, like, having all those theories, yeah, I would I would cover all my bases and make sure I'm physically safe, or make sure I know what to do.
Would you ever cut him off?
Depending on the circumstances, but yeah, I would.
Wow.
But that's the thing, though. So I've never had a brother, and I'm just thinking about if I switched it, because I have only sisters. If I swapped it to only sisters, would I cut them off? The thing is, if they kept crossing my line, yes. That's the point. Because they're crossing my line. So yeah. So if I'm helping her, great. But if I start, like, if he comes to me and he's like telling me, like, what the hell am I doing? And I'd be like, yo, you gotta back up right now. And if he doesn't back up, it's just an example. Or, like, he crosses a line where I'm like, I'm not okay with you doing this. If you keep doing this, then
even if that line
done.
is not about you, even if that line's about your friend. As in, like,
the line would have to be up to her, because that's the thing. You can't be.
No, but as in, like, if your line is, if you physically hit her one more time, like,
I'm out. I'm
yeah. Is your line only about you? Like, if he yells at you, or can that line be drawn for someone else?
I would love to say yes, but I think I'm gonna have to say no as a healthier answer, because
I guess, let me rephrase this question. The question is more, would you say, well, he didn't hurt me, so I'm not gonna cut him off?
If she's in my house and he goes in to hurt her, then that is a line for me. But
if she's not at your house, then that's not a line.
That's because it has to be her line. Because that's the thing. Because then it muddies it and makes it so that I'm her caretaker.
No, but it's more about.
But because it is related though. Because if I use her as one of my lines, then I'm also putting myself in as an advocate for her, as in being an advocate and also being her like keeper, right?
But no, I think that's a keeper. I'm not sure, but advocate, yes. So as an advocate, where do you stand?
Yeah, he shouldn't be like hitting her.
But I guess because we can extrapolate this situation. Of course, it's like one very specific situation, but you know how, like, if we think about a broader issue, people often react, since it's not in my neighborhood, it doesn't, I don't have to deal with it kind of situation.
Well, it wouldn't be like if he continued like that. And yeah, I think that actually, I think I realized I changed my mind. Yeah, no. If I said to him, don't hit her, I have no interest in hanging out with you when you're like this. If you being happy with me, if you being like this amazing person in me results in you harming someone else to that extent, someone that I'm actually close to and I hang out with, no, because I'm watching one person die and the other person come alive. Like, yes. That's just insane to me to be okay with. And so it just, it dirties his soul for me. And I'm just like, it doesn't seem, the payoff doesn't seem good to be able to watch one die and one come alive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that would be a line for me.
No, I think that's a very fair point. I think oftentimes we are caught in these situations, not in particular with these details, but this idea of having to sacrifice one aspect, or, someone has to get hurt or be diminished for something else to prevail.
Yeah.
I think that in a broad sense, I don't think people often think about as much.
Nicely done. Nicely little wrap up for that little section. Yeah, but I see what you mean with that. With just the whole in general, question.
Right? Like, yeah, there's always things give and take, and I don't think it's often considered from both aspects.
Yeah, and I think, last thing to note is also, like, it also relates to yourself. Like, you know how they usually say, like, you surround yourself in the friends and people that, like, kind of, like, the same, like, or emotional level or, like, intelligence or whatever. Like, they're at a similar level with you, right? The friends that you keep around you are kind of, like, a reflection of you, right? That's one of those things, too. So do I want to have the people around me, I have one person that's, like, great, but the reason why they're great, it's like they sold their soul to the devil kind of thing, and is like, hurting one person in order to be great. Yeah. And the other one's just being siphoned off and all this energy, and she is like dying because of it, and she's like honestly like a weak person, or not even a weak person, that's, going a bit too far, and really just
Someone more vulnerable, perhaps, in the
Yeah,
situation.
vulnerable. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's vulnerable in the situation. It keeps getting more and more vulnerable. And do I want to surround myself with people just in general like that?
But I think that's where it gets complicated when we start kind of thinking about how to make decisions and where do we draw the line.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes as outsiders, it's so much easier for us to say, this is the line. It's very easy. If someone crosses it, we're done. And sure, we can say, of course, if someone's physically abusive, line drawn. Of course, we don't tolerate that. But then we start thinking about, okay, if someone's not physically abusive, maybe just verbally abusive, where do we draw that line? Some people are like, people can claim that line is drawn, but sometimes it's more tolerated. And then if you just keep pushing back that a little bit, how much do we really tolerate?
Yeah, no, that's a great point to make. That's such a great point. I don't have anything else to say besides that's a great point. How much do we tolerate before it becomes enough?
Before we think,
maybe we should
just accept. We just take it we just accept it as it is.
Do you think that's a reflection of society today?
So maybe we can tie it a little bit to kind of tie it to the podcast of that multicultural aspect of it.
Okay.
Do you think this actually differs from the different cultures or countries you've lived in, or have seen or experienced? Do you think the line is drawn differently?
For what? What line? I've lost the plot, guys. Sorry.
So let's rephrase this. So I think,
but you mean if I had the same scenario in different countries?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, let me think about this.
Because objectively there are societies or places where certain things are more, highlighted, right?
Ooh. I think I might have to throw this question to you because honestly, I'm not completely sure. I know in Asian societies, it would be more hush-hush, keep it within the family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And people would probably try to
cover it up.
Or I actually would say people are more protective of their own.
Yeah.
The exact hypothesis the exact scenario I just played for you.
Yeah.
Maybe, and we won't generalize, but I think culturally there is a likelihood that you would maybe side more with your brother than your friend in this case.
I think that if it was, obviously it's circumstantial, but I think in an Asian society it would be, a lot of times if I threw a fuss about it, I would be told to hush hush about it. Because not just siding with my brother, but yeah, also there would be probably siding with the brother. But what about in Western society? Western society would be you would make a big hoo-ha about it. I think people would make a hoo-ha about it and make it be yo, stop fucking doing that.
Yes and no. I know we're trying to culturalize it, but also I think this idea of your own family, your own brother. I don't know. I think a lot of people are also so much more protective of their and at the same time there are a lot of families that are so disregarding of blood ties, right? Blood ties is not such a big deal for them.
It would also have to matter if the person, the sister in the scenario was a self-assured person. Honestly, a confident, self-assured person. And oftentimes when you see someone that speaks out, it's usually a white woman who is a lawyer. Someone who is in a higher position kind of thing, a confidence, a certain amount of confidence that comes with having a certain job type of thing, or someone that is, I don't know, moralistic and well educated in the background. Is that true? Ooh, you've got me in a big dilemma now. I don't know.
I think it also depends a lot on where the environment is trending, the society is trending, if it's normalized. So this goes to say a lot about having this safe environment and people and seeing examples of people doing it. I think if you were in a country where it's not done, or in a place where it's not common to speak out about this, or you think it's okay to take it, you wouldn't talk about it. Why would you? It's accepted.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about this in different, even in America, because you have different different races, so many different races. I think it would be received differently depending on where you are, depending what like little pocket of culture you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the West Coast, East Coast, the South, the North, I think.
Yeah, minorities,
everything is different.
Black, Hispanic, Asian, white, like depending on what. Yeah, it definitely would. Ah, great question.
All right. So
All right, what's the next scenario? What's the next scenario? This is fun.
All right. Next case. This one I will admit I think about often.
Oh.
For every criminal mastermind out there, there is a family. And we often talk about perspectives, so here goes. You have a loving father. He has given you everything. He's the father of the year, he's a very successful businessman. He has given you access to everything you can think of. Super charismatic, your friends love him, loving husband. You're the luckiest person to have him as your father. Not until you were in your 20s, you find out that your father is a criminal mastermind of this drug trafficking network around the world. He has been tied to many murders, deaths, kidnappings, and other crimes. Many more crimes. Gut reaction.
It would be a shock reaction first. I mean, that would definitely be a massive shock. I mean...
But do you condemn?
What is his
Do you
code
hush-hush?
name?
Do you...
Does he have a cool code name?
I don't know. That's for the audience. Danny cares about the code.
If he's got a cool code name.
Like a Chapo?
Just like, I'm just saying.
This goes
I
back
think
to...
it would really only affect me if I went in and looked at the different types of murders.
Because you think some of them are okay?
It would depend, like, if it was children.
So if he just murdered only adults, Daddy's like, keep it up, Dad. Just as long as you keep the private jet coming.
So it would just be gut reaction. How would I feel about that? I mean, I would obviously go and just like confront him and be like, yo, so what's up?
But like, actually, let's be fair. What do you want him to say? You go, Dad, I find out, like, what do you want him to say? No, darling, this is all fake.
So I don't know what I would do in that situation, because what's the point here?
Well, I guess it's more like, do you condemn or do you tacitly go with it because you've benefited so much of this?
Oh my God.
It goes back to your line drawn here.
Yo. I don't know. I do not know the answer to this question. What would you do?
This is a really hard one.
It's a hard one because honestly, it depends on how good my fucking life is. And then it also depends, like I said, what kind of murders? Is he murdering, like, quote, I'm airing quotes here, bad people? Is he killing bad people? Then, oh no, this is terrible.
No, don't go down that. But I think just to pull it back, the reason why I wanted to present this scenario, and I know that this is like a super tough one, and thankfully we don't have that situation. We don't have the situation. But the thing is, the reason I wanted to present this dichotomy is because, again, we are so easily to just go and just condemn everyone and go, I can't believe you are associating yourself with all these people, or or you often go, why are the parents or the kids or the family not just jumping out and like so easily, condemning these people? And of course we understand that, and it's like so clear to us, this is a bad guy, he has done all these bad things, done. I want to challenge that view, not because I want to feel sympathetic of these people, but more understand they also have different facets to them. There are different phases, right?
Yeah.
Today, of course, we are able to put this person in a more, it's very easy for us to say, oh, he has done something very illegal. As a result, easy for us to say this is a bad person.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a loving family, but overall, we put him in our balance of calculations. He has more bad than good. But again, if we keep toning down that a little bit, sure, he's not, a drug trafficking mastermind, and we put him down a petroleum, businessman, or we put it down, he does fast fashion, so he does retail, seemingly good, but also, employs labor overseas. Like, where do we draw that line, right? Where do we go, this is okay? And then as family members, as children, how do we react to that?
Okay, my first reaction is be really pissed at him for letting me find out. Like, what the hell? So like, I'd love to just be ignorant of this. We have talked about this.
Ignorance, we often talk about it. Is ignorance truly bliss, right?
It is bliss. There's no question about it. It is bliss to be ignorant. And I wish half the time that I was more ignorant than I am now. We've talked about this, I wish. But, okay, I'm not. So, that's my first reaction. And the other, I think just like realistically, what I would love to happen is to just also, I'd be sneaky about it and check to see whether or not I'm complicit. And then I would do the sneaky thing. Okay, this is like...
Danny, here you go, murky waters. So now you know. You are now officially complicit. FBI comes to you and goes, you need to...
that's what I would do.
Do you testify against him?
That's what I would do, because I don't want to have to do any of that. So I'd do everything I could to not do the things that I could and then get out as soon as possible. So I would cover all my bases and try to get out. That's objectively, right? I'm not in that situation. I think what would really happen if that were me is that I would probably go into shock, go into depression for like a couple of weeks, and then probably dissociate for quite a while. And then once I wake up, then I would finally do all that stuff. And then at that point, it would be a little bit too late, and I would have to like...
So you would still...
I would have a very strong reaction.
But no, you would still testify. Like, you would still... Despite knowing everything we just described, this, amazing childhood family, you would still, which is great. I think it's a hard decision to come out against your father and your family, essentially destroying your family,
Well, I think that would be the realistic route of what would happen, right?
Which is realistic, but also like
also to save myself.
But I want to say it's a very principled way to do it.
Yeah, of course. It's a very principled way, but the way that I would want to do it, that I think is smarter, is to, again, cover all your bases immediately, make sure that you're covered and you don't go to jail, and then do everything you can to take just a little bit of money so that you can get away.
Jenny, oh my gosh, Jenny.
That is the smartest thing, and don't be greedy about it, because the more greedy you are about it, so just like enough to like set you up on a new like small life.
I'm so surprised you're so pragmatic about this.
That's a pragmatic life. That's a pragmatic answer, right? There's always a logical answer and the emotional answer. The logical answer is
there's also the moral answer, right? Like, yes, even though this is my loving family and father and everything, I want to do the right thing.
Yeah, but the logical answer is you do the right thing, you end up with nothing. Nothing.
Whoa.
And the thing is, if you take the other logical route, the pragmatic logical route, right? At least that way, you end up with no family, but because they're all going to be imprisoned, but you at least have a little bit of money and you have yourself.
Your siblings won't be in prison, they would just hate you for life.
In which scenario? In
the scenario you...
are principled?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you
exactly. There's no win-win scenario there. So I have no money. My whole family hates me. Why? That scenario seems. That's a good one. That's the being the whistleblower. Honestly, being a whistleblower is really, really crap. And
it's really tough.
They're gonna get in trouble anyways. They're gonna get taken down anyways.
I want to acknowledge this because, again, oftentimes we look at a scenario and go, why didn't she speak up sooner? Why didn't this person do this sooner? Why? Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
No, it's not that easy. And, like, while I'm saying this, I said, like, take the logical route because at least I'm taken care of for one. My family doesn't, like, hate me from afar. They just hate me a little bit for not being in it enough. But also, like, come on. And then the other part is that when I said to you, like, they're going to get caught and put in prison anyways. But it could have been easier if I testified. As opposed to maybe someone else testifying and having to...
What if no one ever testifies?
But they would get in trouble. They would continue getting in trouble.
What if they're never caught?
But the thing is, someone's always going to be in that position. And at least that way, I'm away and out of it. And...
You've always been away.
I would always have to look over my shoulder, though, I reckon. After knowing, especially. And then getting away. I think if your dad's like a drug pin... Yeah. I don't know. There's no easy answer here, to be honest.
None of these scenarios have an easy answer.
The best answer is actually to buy into the family business as well. Then you're in it.
That's what we get.
You're in it. The 3 answers. Those are the 3 answers.
Danny becomes the next
The next kingpin, because once dad is caught, I become queen. And that's what we really want. All right, and then my kids can then come up with their own scenarios to the situation.
Wow, what a turn. The first scenario, Danny walks away being the moral high ground, the principled woman. Now she becomes fully dived in, like, bought into this, like, drug life.
That's why I said it really depends on what kind of murders. Because, like, I watched, what was that one, like, TV show?
The Gentleman?
No, I love The Gentleman. The Gentleman's so good. I mean, The Gentleman's, like, not even a big deal. It's just weed. Ugh.
But they kill a lot of people.
They do, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Don't they make dying, like, kingpin sexy? Like, what the hell?
They do. That TV show compared to that, was it El Chapo? What TV show? Narcos. Man, the first season of Narcos, I was like, this is just horrible. All that killing compared to The Gentleman killing, they make killing cool in The Gentleman. Like, what the hell?
Hollywood.
Super cool.
Hollywood.
It's not Hollywood, it's Guy Ritchie.
No, but as in, like, my point is, like, they make it seem
they made it sexy and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie makes everything cool, though. So.
It just makes it,
Anyways, love that series, by the way. Anyways, okay, yeah.
So, not easy, not straightforward, but we know. So so far after these two scenarios, we've learned
that is exactly what its situation is. That's The Gentleman.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Cool. But I just put two and two together.
But do you lean into it or do you not? And clearly, you lean into it.
Yeah, those are the three answers, wasn't it?
I think the conclusion we've learned so far about Danny is that with money, everything changes. I'm just kidding. All right. Next and last thought experiment that we have for today.
Okay.
So I'm most curious about this one, to be honest, because it is one that maybe like it's more frequent.
Okay.
And I think it has a higher chance of happening than the other two.
Oh dear.
And this one truly hones in on this idea of ignorance is bliss.
Oh my god, she's gonna get personal. Let's see.
So there was a similar story submitted to another podcast recently. So we'll use that one as an example. So we probably had already talked about this one, but we'd love to know your reaction.
All right.
So there is this man who has been married for 15 years, has a great relationship with a beautiful woman, has 4 beautiful children, and seemingly a picture-perfect marriage. He writes to this podcast saying he's happy. However, he knows his one true love, the soulmate of his life, is the one that he was with right before this marriage. He even goes on to admit that he married his current wife out of convenience. First of all, if you're the current wife, do you want to know? And if this is your friend, so not the wife, but this is the story of your friend, would you tell her?
Oh, that is awful.
Is it awful? Why is it awful?
She had 4 children.
Are
they 15 years?
Let's be clear. So far, the wife doesn't know any of this. In her mind, she's in a perfect marriage. The man has not said he's going to do anything about it. He's just telling the world that this is just not the one.
Does she love him?
They love each other. He just says, my true one soulmate is not her. But she doesn't know it yet, I guess. First question. If you're the wife, do you want to know?
And he loves her.
He loves her. They have a beautiful marriage. She's a great partner, great wife, great mother. He's great to her as well.
I would want to know.
You would want to know? You as a wife, you would want to know.
I think it's something wrong with him.
Wait, why?
Why is that other person his soulmate?
Anyway, why is that your question? Does it matter why the other person's soulmate?
Yeah.
He just had a better love with her.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's literally all it is.
Yeah. Yet you still want to know as a wife. You want to know.
That's the point. That's what I was getting at. I wouldn't want to know, but that's what I am getting at.
Okay.
But also, I do kind of want to know because, dude, no, he needs to research that himself and look inside himself to see whether or not that's worth it.
So he's not going to tell her.
All right, we got to take a pause real quick. Alrighty, and we're back.
We're back.
Sorry, everyone. Someone came to the door. I'm a popular person. What can I say? All right, where were we?
So let's restart with this question. If you were the wife, would you want to know that your husband, in his mind, he has not said this publicly, except submitting it to a podcast clearly, that you are not the love of his life? Would you want to know?
The reason why I would want to know is because I need to know that that guy needs to work on himself a little bit better, because soulmates it's literally just like he had a chemical brain that made him want to have sex faster with this person than with me.
He still thinks about her. It turns out this guy actually reached back out to that girl. She's also married with a whole family and very happy. But they do talk about that they were each other's like biggest love, you know?
That is a problem. See, that's a problem.
Danny, nothing's going to happen. Regardless of the situation, you are the wife in this situation. You still want to know?
Nothing's gonna happen?
Nothing's gonna happen.
Alright, then no, yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to know.
You wouldn't want to know.
No, I just find it very annoying.
But you will never know, because you don't know.
Alright, fine. I'm blissfully fucking happy.
You don't sound happy?
I'm really miserable with this question.
Let's shift it a little bit.
Alright.
If this is your friend, you find out that your friend's husband, perfect husband, has like this thought or whatever, would you tell your friend?
No.
So everyone's in the dark.
Yeah, because, well, it depends. If I was a friend and I knew that nothing was ever going to happen.
Nothing will ever happen.
Then yeah, I'd take that secret to the grave.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're sticking that ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else is going to come of it, then yeah, there's no like variables down the line that I have to be like aware of. Is there going to be a secret child? Blah, blah, blah. No.
Nope.
I'm good.
Just the idea of this. Because I've actually had this conversation with other friends. They're like, I would want to know. I was like, it doesn't matter. I just want them to know the truth. And I was like, truth? Really? Do you want to know?
No, I wouldn't want to know. I would only want to know if, like, for example, they have the potential to start having an affair. In which case, it would only become a problem because, again, like I said, why does he think that she is? Because I have that idea in my head. And so whenever you ask these questions, there's so many nuances to this. And the nuance here is the fact that he might be, is it because he is just looking for like that hit, right? That dopamine hit in our head that goes, let's go procreate with more people.
Danny, let's take this back. But is your argument that...
So what my argument is saying is like, is he being immature and not thinking about like the long-term consequences to this? Like, if he wants to have an affair.
No, but okay, so to take it back, because you mentioned this idea of challenging his mental situation right now. And I'm just curious to think, because you're making this argument sound like the fact that he's married to someone else, he should forget about her, right? The previous love of his life.
No, of course not.
Or why are we discrediting that he just loves someone else more?
Yeah, what an interesting thing. It just makes me feel less special.
Right. That is the crux of this question.
Yeah.
Like, you are less special in his eyes, in that sense, objectively, because he's claimed it already. But he will never act upon it, and you won't feel it any less. So I guess just to pull it out a little bit, the question is more about if it looks like love, feels like love, acts like love, do you buy it as love?
I don't like this scenario. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I like the other ones better. I'm just saying, this one is hard and it hurts. Oh my gosh. What would you do? I mean, okay, friend. Wait, no. You know the dilemma I'm talking about. You know what I'm asking.
Of course. The reason we and I think many people feel conflicted about this is because, of course, we want to be the most special person. We want to be the love of someone's life. We want to be everything this person can ever desire, right?
But that's also unrealistic.
But objectively, I think oftentimes we don't talk about it, but through the grapevines, through the murmurs, people sometimes get married or are together, build a life without actually being all of that for that person. Are we okay with that? Because the reason I'm also asking this in this way is if we shift this a little bit, let's say someone gets married, has a beautiful life. This is someone's soulmate. One of them passes away and you remarry. How do you juxtapose those two different relationships in your mind, right? So in this actual scenario, the only difference is the love of his life did not pass away. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, this feeling of this person, and as a recipient of it, of course, ideally, in the best world, we are the love of this guy's life, or, or vice versa.
I don't think that part's important, to be honest, anymore.
So then what are you challenging?
I'm not challenging anything. I don't want to know. I would be ignorant in it because there's no need for me to know. It doesn't help me. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve him. The only way that I would want to know is if he's going to act upon it. If he's going to continue down the road of being like, my life, I don't really like my life. I don't like my life. I don't like my kids. I wish I had this.
Okay, so of course this is a very, a nuanced situation, but do you think this is applicable across the board? Let's just say, in friendship, or maybe let's actually use it in a relationship between a parent and a child. What if this parent doesn't say, quote unquote, love you? He or she, this parent will never tell that to you, but meets all the parents' criteria. Gives you food, gives you the care, gives you everything and the responsibility of a parent. Gives you everything you ever need. Does this quote unquote love matter?
Isn't that love though?
So that is exactly the question. If it acts like it, looks like it, behaves like it, feels like it, is it?
This goes back to expectation. We're rounding out to the beginning, which is great. I mean, it's your expectation, right? It all seems like it by all textbook purposes. It seems like it. And in fact, it might be that person's way of loving.
Right.
It just might not be yours. It's not what you want. And so in that way, can you get what you want somewhere else? Can you do that? And is that enough? What's enough for you? I actually think it depends on the person. What is enough for you?
I actually want to tie this to a different conversation we've had, Danny, where we go, I will do my best to show my love to you. But if you don't receive it because of your expectations, who should adjust?
You discuss together and see what creative solutions you can come up with.
So if I say this is the best I can do, remember we talked about this, if this is the best I can do, is that enough for you? And if your answer is no, again, who should adjust? This is the best I can do.
You both adjust.
But this is this is already my best. This is everything I can give you.
Then I try adjusting. If I adjust and it still doesn't work, then you can try adjusting again, but then you at some point need to leave.
This is your parent.
Yeah.
Where are you
there
going?
Are plenty of people. Yeah.
You leave your parent? You're making your parent...
How old are we? How old are we in this scenario?
I don't know.
Well, if we're children, obviously you can't leave. Then you wait. That's the whole thing. You wait.
But if you're older, you dump your parents because you don't like them?
Yeah, you don't dump them. You just, don't hang around as much as you wanted to. You think that's deemed
So you're punishing your parent?
You're not punishing your parent. You're just prioritizing yourself. Yeah, you're prioritizing yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And the thing is, yeah, you're still having the same, you just, boundaries, set up more boundaries, set up more space. Yeah.
Okay.
No?
I don't know. There's no right answer, but I guess it's all about nuances.
And so, going back to that last scenario of that, a guy, it depends on whether or not he's whining in a podcast, I want my soulmate. Because we have talked about this. It's the road not taken, That idea of yes, this person probably would have been an amazing story between the two of us. We could have made it a great love life, a great story, whatever. We don't know. That's the point. You don't know what that story is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter anymore. And yes, there's that longing and that hurts, but you have this story and you can choose to live in that story that doesn't exist, that you aren't living in, that parallel universe you're not living in, or you can live in this one. And it's hard to do it. It's easier said than done, but that's the reality of the situation. So is he whinging online to a whole bunch of big people? Because if he is, that is a problem for me. And he can just like he could just fuck off. Just saying.
I mean, you're right. The road not taken is always, you never know. But I guess is your point, people should just get over things quicker because you're living in this life.
Obviously not, because you know me, and for months I have been complaining about a few things. For months. So it's easier said than done, because not everyone, like, I come from a good background and, education, middle class family and all that kind of stuff. I have the means to be able to sort this shit out, but not a lot of people do. And, so I'm in a good position. Not everyone is, so I understand it will take people longer. But yeah, that's the answer to my question. So I would be ignorant. And if I was a friend, I would eat that, take it to my grave, because it's not really a big one for me. Unless he's being a dick about it.
So you always yeah. Actually, I think there's really no right answer, because we often see these scenarios play out, right? Like the friend tries to take it to the grave because nothing is supposed to happen, but something does, and then the friend goes, "Why didn't you tell me earlier?"
And, no, there is no right answer, because the answer is different for every person. And exactly. For me, the answer is I'm going to be ignorant. I do not need to know that information because, maybe I have my dream man. My soulmate was right before him, too. True. Or two before him. In fact, I'd gone through 2 soulmates already.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing. So,
all right. So the conclusion of this is clearly it's very nuanced in every scenario we're talking about. I think the idea was just to put ourselves in different shoes to know that it's really not that straightforward in a lot of these scenarios. Like, we can assume of things, we can say, if we were so-and-so, we would have done this or that. It's so much easier to jump to conclusion or to look at from outside because you're not, attached to the situation and the context.
Yeah, and just knowing the answer to things, it's just so comforting. And so to be able to make it black and white and be like, no, this is the right answer. It makes you feel better, but honestly, I don't really know if it's the right answer. It's hard to know. I don't know. Life is hard.
Life is hard, but we do know Danny would be a great queen pin.
I would. I would. Just saying.
They don't know yet, but they will know soon enough. All right, so we had a lot to think about.
Okay.
Definitely nothing is as straightforward. And, well, like you said, in every scenario, we'll see how we will react because life is unknown.
Yep.
Well, can't wait to see what other conversations we have in the following weeks. I know we have a lot to talk about. But before we wrap up, Danny, anything exciting on the radar in the next few weeks that you want to share with everyone?
Is there anything? Oh, my days. So much. Oh my God. My life is really amazing right now, to be honest.
You don't say that.
No, I mean, okay, it's not really amazing. There's just a lot of things happening.
Exciting things.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get back into social media soon. So that's going to happen at some point.
Okay.
Undetermined time.
You're going to take care of your little son?
Oh, my little cat. Yeah. Wait, when you say my little cat, just kind of sounds like my little pussy. Sorry. All right. Explicit. Next week I'm going to take care of Miles. And then, it's just, I don't know how I keep ending up with him. We call him our little trash kitty. He's really cute. Anyways.
You love him.
I do. I love him so much, but I also am 30, flirty, and thriving. Is that the...
Whoa.
30, flirty, and thriving? Yeah, 30, flirty, and thriving. And then, I've got all my art going on as well. You know that. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to do the social media stuff.
That's so exciting.
Apparently, I have the face of, an online presenter. Apparently, I have, a lot of expressions.
Yeah.
So, I suit the online life. Is that how you say it? Platform. Online platform.
Yeah.
That's right. What have you got going on?
I'll be flying to the U.S. pretty soon, so that's exciting. I haven't been back in a while, so checking out the U.S. We'll be there for elections, so that'll be something.
You'll be there for the elections?
That'll be something. So we
Wait,
shall see.
are you gonna go and vote there?
Physically vote?
You're gonna physically vote?
Physically vote.
Wow. Okay.
I need to figure all that out, but I guess Google will.
That's gonna be a crazy time. You gotta record some shit and just send it to me as well.
I'll keep you posted on how things go over there.
Yeah. All right. Do that.
Well, to wrap up, thank you all for listening. This was neither here nor there. Conversation across. Let's keep getting to know each other.
Conversations across the in-betweenness, right?
Yes, in between us.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please stay tuned for all upcoming episodes. We've got some exciting stuff coming up and exciting guest appearances. But in the meantime, please follow us on all the different social medias that I've got listed below. And we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.